In a recent feature on USA Today, they published an article titled, "What are Superfoods?" I read the article, some of it I agree with, some of it I disagree with, and in this edition of Science or Nonsense, we'll go into which part of the articles were great and which part of the articles were, well, nonsense. If you want to dive into the article, here it is. This is nothing personal against the author. I don't know her. I'm pretty sure she doesn't know me, but if you want to dive in, here it is. And here's the QR code if you want to read the full article. So the agenda, let's dive into it. First of all, we'll give a definition of what are superfoods, because that term gets thrown around very loosely, very widely by both social media and mainstream media. So we'll give a definition. Then we'll address the 10 superfoods that the author claims are superfoods in her article, which ones actually are superfoods and which ones are not. So before we jump in, who am I? My name is Igor. I'm the author of 13 books on exercise and nutrition, including 4 Amazon bestsellers. As well, I've been a personal trainer since 2006 and training other personal trainers in my methodology by speaking at the world's largest personal training conferences since 2013. And I've done over 400 presentations to some of Canada's biggest corporations, including IBM, Bosch, American Express, University of Toronto, Investors Group, and others. If you want to learn when I publish more videos about exercise and nutrition, as well as my classic feature of now science or nonsense, click like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So first, let's break down the word superfood. Here is what the author says. For starters, the term superfood isn't one that real experts in the field typically use. This is absolutely correct. Nutritionally, there's no such thing. This is just something made up in what mainstream media made it out to social media. So this part I agree with. Well done. Now, what are superfoods? Here is what the author says. Superfoods are nutrient-dense foods that either have a lot of one nutrient or are a good source of several nutrients. I agree with part of this definition, which is a food with high amounts of 2 or more nutrients. I don't think that a food that has high amounts of one nutrient should be considered a superfood, because then there's going to be way too many superfoods. And again, this definition is one that she came up with, and the definition I'm giving you right now is my definition. So neither one is right or wrong, but I want to narrow down what we call a superfood. So my definition is a superfood is a food with high amounts of 2 or more nutrients. Now, what does the word high mean? How much is a high amount? My definition of this is 30% or more of the daily requirement. Why did I set the threshold at 30? Because if you were to have one serving of that food 3 times per day, you would meet your daily requirements. And of course, you'd fill it with a few other things that make up the 10%. So that's my definition of what is a high amount of a nutrient, okay? Now, unfortunately, in this article in the USA Today, the author does not define what is a high amount or a good source of several nutrients. Is it 5%? Is it 70%? There's no definition there, which I think is lacking and problematic. So here are the 10 superfoods that she states. First, she states that berries are a superfood. Why? Because they have fiber and antioxidants. Let's break that down. Do they have fiber? Yep, they're a very good source of fiber. To my diabetic clients, I frequently recommend raspberries, blackberries, and blueberries for their fiber content because they're a very good source. Are they a rich source of antioxidants? Also, yes, but it's been called into question recently, and by recently I mean the last 20 years, of how much do antioxidants really play, how much of a role do they really play in human health? And that part is not clear. The old explanation used to be you have a bad molecule called a free radical. And it takes electrons from different molecules and destabilizes cell membranes. Then there's antioxidants that just give a free electron to the antioxidants, to the free radicals. So it was a nice, simple explanation, but in recent, like I said, in the recent 20 years, that's really been called into question. If you want me to publish a video diving way deeper into antioxidants, just comment in the comment section below, and I'll do that. So, is it a superfood? No. I don't think berries are a superfood. Are they a very good food? Yes. Do I frequently recommend them? Yes. But are they a superfood by my definition? No. Moving on. Fish, she says, is a superfood because it contains protein and omega-3 fatty acids. Protein, yep, it's one of the richest sources of protein. One serving of any fish contains more than 30 grams of protein. Here's where she gets wrong. She says all fish are rich in omega-3 fatty acids. That is not correct. Only fatty fish are rich in omega-3 fatty acids. So things like salmon, sardines, anchovies, etc., those are rich in omega-3 fatty acids. Lean fish are not rich in fatty acids, in omega-3 fatty acids, like tuna, cod, and so on. And so is fish or are fish a superfood? I would say yes, but only fatty fish. But does that mean you shouldn't eat tuna or cod, etc.? No, I frequently recommend tuna and cod, but not because they're superfoods, and I don't consider them as such. I recommend them mostly for their protein content, but they don't have almost any omega-3s. So fatty fish are indeed a superfood, and non-fatty fish are not a superfood, but again, doesn't mean you can't have them. You should for their protein content. She also says that leafy greens are a superfood. Why? Well, her rationale is that they are high in vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, and fiber. Well, let's break it down. So because leafy greens is such a wide scope, let's just pick one specific leafy green, spinach, and later on we'll talk about kale. So let's look at it. Is spinach high in vitamin A? No, spinach is not in fact high in vitamin A. Spinach is high in something called beta carotene. Beta carotene is the precursor to vitamin A. It has the potential to get converted into vitamin A. In many people, this potential is actualized. It actually turns into vitamin A. But also in many people, it doesn't get turned into vitamin A. For example, for people with a slow thyroid, it might not get turned into vitamin A. In people with low iron or anemia, it might not get turned into vitamin A. And so that's not direct vitamin A. But things like liver has direct vitamin A, not beta carotene, but actual vitamin A. So because of that, I don't know if I would give it points for being high in vitamin A. It gets points for being high in beta carotene, but again, it's questionable how important is beta carotene in human health. We know that vitamin A is essential, vital. Beta carotene, we're not really sure. Next, she also says it's rich in calcium. Is that correct? No, it is not. So what are the calcium requirements of a person? Well, according to government recommendations, an adult human needs between 1,000 and 1,200 milligrams of calcium per day. How much does spinach have? Only about 65 milligrams per cup. Okay. Now, again, that's just going with government recommendations. I've recorded an entire other video about why calcium is not even that important for bone strength. If you want, check it out in the description below or on your screen right now. The author also claims that spinach is high in fiber. No, again, it's only high in fiber on a per calorie basis, per gram basis, but you don't eat very many calories of spinach and you don't eat very many grams of spinach. So what are daily fiber requirements? While they do vary per person to person, from as low as for healthy people, from as low as 24 grams to as high as 38 grams, and then for certain conditions even higher, like diabetes, they need more. Let's call an average of about 30 grams per day is an average person's requirement. How much does a serving of spinach have? It only has about 1 gram. So you're going to need 30 cups of spinach to get your 30 grams per day. Where am I getting these numbers from? These are from Health Canada, by the way, their nutrition database. Now let's look at kale. She says kale is high in vitamin A. No, again, just like spinach, it has beta carotene, which is not necessarily vitamin A. She also says it's high in calcium. Also no, because again, let's say we need about 1,200 milligrams of calcium per day. Kale only has 95 milligrams according to Health Canada's nutrition database. This is less than 10%. This is not a great amount. She also says kale is high in fiber. Again, no, kale is not high in fiber. The daily requirement is approximately 30 grams per day. Kale has 1.5 grams. Again, on a per calorie basis, kale is high in fiber. On a per gram basis, kale is high in fiber. However, 1 cup of kale is only about 65 grams. You don't get 100 grams of kale unless you eat, well, almost 2 cups of it. You don't get substantial amounts. Okay, so it doesn't even come close to getting 10% of the daily requirements, never mind 30%. So is it a superfood? No. Okay, so I don't think that green leafy vegetables are superfoods. Are they healthy for you? Absolutely. Do I frequently recommend them? Yes. I sing their praises for things especially like high blood pressure, diabetes, and more. But are they a superfood? No. Next. Nuts. She claims that they are high in protein and monounsaturated fats. Are they indeed high in protein? No, that comes from vegan propaganda. So let's talk about how much protein does a person need. I'm going to give you the calculations for an average 180-pound person who is under 60 years old. So they need, if they're strength training, 1.6 grams per kilogram per day. 180 pounds is 81.6 kilograms. So this 180-pound person who does strength training would need about 131 grams of protein per day. So that's our daily requirement. How much do nuts have? A serving of nuts is only about 6 grams of fiber, 6 grams of protein. So not that rich of a source. Monounsaturated fats, that part is correct. So is it a superfood? No. Do I occasionally recommend them? Yes. I especially recommend almonds. I especially recommend Brazil nuts for their magnesium content, which is great for high blood pressure. It's great for the heart in general. But are they a superfood? Not according to my definition. She also says olive oil is a superfood. Why? Because it contains vitamin E and monounsaturated fatty acids. Does it indeed contain them? Yes, this part is not incorrect. That's correct. Is it a superfood, however? No, not by my definition. Next, she says whole grains are a rich source of fiber, B vitamins, and minerals. That's her claim. Are they indeed rich in fiber? No. Okay. Again, an average daily requirement is about 30 grams per day. Whole grains contain 2 grams per slice of whole grain bread. Not really a rich source. Are they high in B vitamins? This part she gets right. They are indeed high in B vitamins. So is it a superfood? I don't think so. They're high in B vitamins, they're low in fiber, they're low in minerals, but they are high in B vitamins. Are they healthy? Yes, I frequently recommend them for diabetes. I frequently recommend them in general for satiety, etc. But do they meet the definition of a superfood? I don't think so. She also claims that yogurt is a superfood. What's her justification? She says it contains calcium, protein, and probiotics. Again, here's the problem with saying it has a good amount of something. Good is not quantifiable. Say what percent it contains of the daily requirements. Because if you make the definition vague, well, you can make a lot of things fit the definition. You need to have stricter criteria. But let's go back to yogurt. She says it's high in calcium. Is that the case? Yes, but again, how much does calcium matter? In another video, I talked about calcium for osteoporosis, which you can check out on your screen right now or in the description below, which is different than the video I mentioned previously in this presentation. She also says it's high in protein. This is absolutely not correct. Again, if a person's daily requirements are about 130 grams per day, 1 cup of yogurt only has about 6 grams. You need many, many, many cups of yogurt to get your daily protein requirements, or even a small chunk of them. And she also says it's high in probiotics. This part is correct. So is it a superfood? Again, not by my definition. She says that cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and kale are superfoods. Why? Her justification is to contain fiber and vitamins. So they are not that rich in fiber. Let's compare the best different fiber sources, including the best. So let's start with the daily requirements. As you know, they are around 30 grams per day. How much does broccoli have? Well, 1 stalk of broccoli only has about 3.6. So definitely better than kale and spinach, but still not exactly 30%. Kale, as you know from earlier, only has 1.5 grams. Now, let's compare that to beans and lentils, 2 of the best sources of fiber. Beans, 100 grams of beans contain 14 grams of fiber. Beans are a nice source of fiber, as are lentils at 10 grams per cup. So broccoli and kale, again, fantastic foods, but not superfoods. Moving on. They are not rich in vitamins either. Neither broccoli nor kale are that rich in vitamins, except for kale, which is high in only vitamin K. It's low in all the other nutrients. So kale contains about 52% of daily requirements. So that is indeed what I would call a high amount. But that's it, just vitamin K. It's not high in anything else, not vitamin C, not B vitamins, no other minerals, etc. And broccoli is not even high in vitamin K. So are cruciferous vegetables superfoods? No. Are they healthy for you? For most people, yes. I frequently recommend them, but not because they're superfoods. And I think this is the last one. She claims that legumes like black beans and chickpeas are superfoods. Why? Her justification is that they are high in fiber and protein. This part, she got it right. They are two of the richest sources of fiber, and their protein content is good. Not as good as chicken or shrimp or tuna, but pretty good. As you saw in a previous slide, 1 cup of black beans contains about 14 grams of fiber, and 1 cup of chickpeas is very similar or maybe just a little bit lower. As for protein, both contain between 12 and 16 grams of protein per cup. Again, not as good as chicken, but it's a very good amount. Lastly, now I can say lastly, is that tomatoes contain vitamin C and lycopene. Are they rich in vitamin C? No. Tomatoes are not rich in vitamin C. Why? Because the other requirements are what they are, which is I think about 60 milligrams, and a medium-sized tomato only contains about 19% of the vitamin C of the other requirements. So you need to eat 5 medium tomatoes to get your vitamin C requirements. And lastly, she says it is high in tomatoes are high in lycopene, and that part is correct. But again, lycopene, it's questionable how important are antioxidants in your diet, because the body makes antioxidants already, like glutathione and a few others. So is it a superfood? I don't classify it as a superfood. Are tomatoes healthy for you? The vast majority of people, yes. I frequently recommend them for weight loss and for other purposes, but are they a superfood? No. If you like this video, click like and subscribe to my YouTube channel.